The Expedition 73 crew shared that they had designed certain elements of their patch to represent our continued international collaboration and connection to science and the cosmos. The number 73 is a prime number and a binary palindrome represented at the base of the patch. And 73 is also a star number represented by the hexagonal shape of the patch, accented by white stars, which symbolizes the crew's dedication to space exploration. If you're just joining us, we're providing live coverage of the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft's arrival to the International Space Station. Right now, Dragon is making its final climb to Waypoint 0. And we are currently about 4 minutes away from the planned go or no-go call to approach Waypoint 1.
Station Houston on space to ground 2. Dragon range is approximately 1,000 meters. Monitor long-range approach per steps 1 to 4 in 1.102. Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Station copy. Visual on Dragon. Attitude is expected.
Houston copies.
The teams here just pulled go to go ahead and move past and through Waypoint 0 here in about 10 minutes and then continue on to Waypoint 1. Waypoint 1 places Dragon on what is called the docking axis directly in front of the docking port. With the go to approach Waypoint 1, that means all Dragon systems checked out nominally on its path to the docking port. With that go to approach Waypoint 1, this means the vehicle won't pause at Waypoint 0 and will continue on to that Waypoint 1. Now, once past Waypoint 0, the spacecraft begins its long looping maneuver that eventually brings it in front of and then above station to a point onto Waypoint 1, which is approximately 220 meters or 720 feet away from the space station. Waypoint 1 puts the vehicle right on the docking axis in front of the docking port. Again, Waypoint 1 brings Dragon 220 meters or 720 feet, which is roughly 2.5 football fields away from space station in front of the docking port. If you're just joining us, we're providing live coverage of the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft's arrival to the International Space Station. Teams pulled go for the spacecraft to go to Waypoint 1. And we're currently awaiting Dragon's arrival to the first checkpoint, which is Waypoint 0. With that go to approach Waypoint 1, that means Dragon can go past and through Waypoint 0 on its way to Waypoint 1, which is the docking access roughly about 2.5 football fields away from the docking port. We're about 10 minutes away from Dragon's arrival to Waypoint 0, which is the first checkout of approach at approximately 400 meters below station. You're looking at a live look at the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft as it makes its way to the International Space Station. You see those green and red lights on either side of the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft. The starboard or right side is green and the port side is on the left is red. As we await Dragon's arrival to the first checkpoint of approach at 400 meters below station, called Waypoint 0, a reminder that since we heard that go for approach to Waypoint 1, Dragon won't pause at Waypoint 0, but will continue through and past it on its way to Waypoint 1. All Dragon systems have checked out nominally, and once past Waypoint 0, the spacecraft begins its long looping maneuver in front of and then above the station to a point onto Waypoint 1, which you see here on this graphic is approximately 220 meters or 720 feet directly in front of the docking port on Space Station. Waypoint 1, which you see there on your graphic, is also called the docking axis, which places Dragon directly in front of the zenith port. Again, that is roughly 720 feet or about 2.5 football fields away. If you're just joining us, we're providing live coverage of the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft's arrival to the International Space Station. This is SpaceX's 30-second cargo resupply mission to the International Space Station for NASA and is en route to deliver about 6,700 pounds of research and supplies to Expedition 73. Right now, the space station is traveling southwest to northeast over the Pacific Ocean, and soon station will cross into California almost directly over San Francisco. Dragon is closing in on that waypoint 0. It's 400 meters below the space station, currently 424 meters away. All Dragon systems have checked out nominally, and we are awaiting its arrival to the first checkpoint about 400 meters below station. Dragon is 30 seconds to waypoint 0, which puts it on 400 meters below the space station.
Houston Station, vehicle mode, transition to docking access, range 401 meters, decreasing, attitude as expected.
Houston copies. That's a good block, Bravo.
Dragon has reached its first checkpoint in its approach at waypoint 0 and is en route to waypoint 1. With the help of earlier's approach initiation burn about 45 minutes ago, Dragon has arrived to waypoint 0, which is 400 meters or 1,300 feet below the International Space Station, and is continuing on toward waypoint 1. About 10 minutes ago, we heard that go for approach to waypoint 1 call, meaning that all Dragon systems checked out nominally. With that nominal checkout, Dragon did not need to pause here at waypoint 0 and is continuing directly onto waypoint 1, currently beginning its long looping maneuver in the front of and then above station to a point which is about 220 meters or 721 feet away from space station. Waypoint 1 also puts Dragon on the docking access directly in front of the Zenith port, again 220 meters or 720 feet directly in front of that port. If you're just joining us, we're providing live coverage of the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft's arrival at the International Space Station. The Dragon spacecraft will dock autonomously to the Zenith port of the station's Harmony module, delivering approximately 3 tons of cargo to the crew of Expedition 73. That arrival time is approximately 7:38 a.m. Central, 8:38 a.m. Eastern. All Dragon systems have checked out nominally on its path to the docking port. Dragon has reached its first checkpoint at Waypoint 0. Later this year, the International Space Station will reach a landmark milestone in the history of human spaceflight with 25 years of a continuous human presence on the orbiting lab. That means anyone born after November 2nd, 2000 has never lived on Earth with every other person at the same time. And while the number 25 generally marks the silver anniversary, Station is really in its golden age right now, maximizing its scientific return. Results are compounding, new benefits are materializing, and innovative research and technology demonstrations are building on previous work to benefit life here on Earth and further NASA's missions to deep space.
And liftoff. International Space Station is underway.
We are in the golden age of the space station right now in terms of the return on investment and what we're able to do there.
One of the great legacies of the space station is not just going to be science, but very importantly, the international cooperation. This is perhaps most prominent, international cooperation for exploration.
Even after almost 25 years of continuous human presence, Station isn't slowing down anytime soon and maintains a heavy operational tempo. This past month has been incredibly busy. Alongside our commercial crew program counterparts, Station kicked off the past month with the Crew 9, Crew 10 crew rotation. Crew 10 launched March 14th, and after a short handover period, the teams brought Crew 9 back home on March 18th, which vacated the port Dragon is docking to today. Soon after, on April 8th, NASA astronaut Johnny Kim, along with his cosmonaut crewmates Sergei Ryzhikov and Alexei Zubritsky, launched aboard the Soyuz MS-27 spacecraft, arriving to station a few hours later. From there, just this Friday, Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexei Ovchinin handed over command of the International Space Station to JAXA astronaut Takuya Onishi, who is helping oversee today's operation. And then just this past Saturday evening, NASA astronaut Don Pettit and Roscosmos cosmonauts Alexei Ovchinin and Ivan Bogner undocked from station. That marks the beginning of Expedition 73. And after 220 days and 93.3 million miles in space, NASA astronaut Don Pettit returned to Earth at 8:20 p.m. Central on Saturday, April 19th, which was April 20th and Don's 70th birthday Kazakhstan time. And looking ahead, we have a spacewalk planned for May 1st with NASA astronauts Nicole Ayers and Anne McClain. They'll work to relocate a communications antenna as well as install a mounting bracket ahead of the installation of an additional set of International Space Station Rollout Solar Arrays, or IROSA. The IROSAs will increase power generation capability by up to 30%, increasing the station's total available power from 160 kilowatts up to 215. And those arrays will be installed on a future spacewalk following their arrival on a SpaceX Dragon commercial resupply mission just like this one, launching later this year. And to round out all the busy operations, we also have our 4th private astronaut mission to the space station, Axiom Mission 4, targeted for next month, no earlier than May 2025.
Houston Station on 2 for WHC.
With you on 2, Vapor, go ahead.
I'm on step 5.1. After opening the valve, separator and dose pump lights both came on, and then both the dose pump light went off. And the pre-treat brad call light came on. It's a verify step, so I'm wondering if you guys want me to just run the cue card and turn off the WHC and then do a couple manual doses, or stand by for now.
Vapor Houston will take a couple of manual doses per block November.
Copy that.
The International Space Station and Dragon are currently passing over the northwest United States. And you're looking at a real-time map of the International Space Station as it's in its position over the world. You'll notice that on either side of the screen it looks slightly darker. These indicate orbital nighttime periods. The International Space Station sees 16 sunrises and sunsets a day, and this map serves as a great representation of how that works. Again, the International Space Station and Dragon are passing over the northwest United States, about to enter into an orbital sunrise. We are currently in an expected loss of signal for our video views, and we're going to remain that way just before docking at approximately 7:38 a.m. Central.
Vapor, Houston's back with you on 2. Go ahead.
Getting 5, run Black November. I've given it 4 doses, and the bad pre-treat bad qual light is still on. Do you want me to continue with manual doses?
Vapor, Houston, stand by. We're seeing that the light is off. However, we want to data gather for a few seconds here, if that's okay.
Bet.
If you're just joining us, we're providing live coverage of the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft's arrival to the International Space Station. We are currently in an expected loss of signal for our video views as the space station passes around the Earth. Feeds are transferred between satellites through our tracking and data relay satellite system. We're expected to regain these video views before docking. The Dragon spacecraft will dock autonomously to the zenith port of station's Harmony module, delivering approximately 3 tons of cargo to the crew of Expedition 73. All Dragon systems have checked out nominally so far on its path to the docking port. Dragon has reached its first checkout at Waypoint 0 and is currently in a long looping maneuver on the edge of station's Keepout sphere, making its way to Waypoint 1, which will put Dragon on a docking access directly in front of the docking port. And while Dragon is making its way to Waypoint 1, we're expecting the go, no-go approach to Waypoint 2 call in about 4 minutes here at 7 a.m. Central. The go for approach to Waypoint 2 brings Dragon inside the Keepout sphere before contact at the zenith port of the Harmony module. So again, Dragon's reached that first checkpoint at Waypoint 0, and it's currently making that long looping maneuver you see here in this graphic on the edge of the station's Keepout sphere. It's making its way to Waypoint 1, which will put Dragon on the docking access 220 meters or 721 feet directly in front of the docking port. If you're just joining us, this is SpaceX's 30-second cargo resupply mission to the International Space Station for NASA and is en route to deliver about 6,700 pounds of research and supplies to the Expedition 73 crew.
Station Houston on 2 for Vapor. I just want to let you know we're still talking about the WHC doses. We'll get back with you here in a few.
Okay, copy that. And you want me to leave the fan running and the valve open for this, right?
That's affirmative. Good readback.
Copy.
Station Houston, Space to Ground 2 for Talkin' Johnny regarding the docking camera.
Johnny, talk to your send it.
Hey guys, wanted to let you know that the docking camera is currently configured to only be routed to the cupola, so we would like to vector you guys to the cupola, if that's all right.
Moving.
Thank you kindly.
We are coming to you live from the International Space Station's Flight Control Room. The NASA Flight Control team here in Mission Control Houston and the SpaceX team in Hawthorne, California are in integrated operations. Here on the ground in Houston, Flight Director Elias Mirmo is overseeing today's spacecraft arrival. Capcom, our capsule communicator, who you see on his right, is Gunny Lesarge, who you've heard talking to crew today. And the visiting vehicle officer today, or VVO, is Ethan Good. The VVO serves as the guidance and navigation liaison between the space station and visiting vehicles such as Dragon.
And on 2, while we wait for WHC answers, I'd like to just knock out this TOCA activity real quick. Wanted to see if you guys have done steps 1 and 2.
So Vapor, I passed you a couple of things. Steps 1 and 2 for what you were just talking about are complete, and you're good to proceed. However, I also pass you our next steps for the WHC. We'd like to have you turn off the WHC urine valve. We would then like to have you check the vent caps orientation per figure 12, as well as the manual connectors, making sure they're all marked as flush and mated.
Okay, copy that. I will stand on TOCA for now. I'll turn off the WHC and then I'll check the vent caps and all of the connections.
Copies. That's a good readback.
Houston Station on 2 for WHC. So the vent caps are actually per figures 5 and 6.
Vapor Houston, stand by. We're seeing that the light is off. However, we want to data gather for a few seconds here, if that's okay.
But
If you're just joining us, we're providing live coverage of the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft's arrival to the International Space Station. We are currently in an expected loss of signal for our video views as the space station passes around the Earth. Feeds are transferred between satellites through our tracking and data relay satellite system. We're expected to regain these video views before docking. The Dragon spacecraft will dock autonomously to the Zenith port of station's Harmony module, delivering approximately 3 tons of cargo to the crew of Expedition 73. All Dragon systems have checked out nominally so far on its path to the docking port. Dragon has reached its first checkout at Waypoint 0 and is currently in a long looping maneuver on the edge of station's Keepout sphere, making its way to Waypoint 1, which will put Dragon on a docking access directly in front of the docking port. And while Dragon is making its way to Waypoint 1, we're expecting the go, no go approach to Waypoint 2 call in about 4 minutes here at 7 a.m. Central. The go for approach to Waypoint 2 brings Dragon inside the Keepout sphere before contact at the Zenith port of the Harmony module. So again, Dragon's reached that first checkpoint at Waypoint 0, and it's currently making that long looping maneuver you see here in this graphic on the edge of the station's Keepout sphere. It's making its way to Waypoint 1, which will put Dragon on the docking access 220 meters or 721 feet directly in front of the docking port. If you're just joining us, this is SpaceX's 30-second cargo resupply mission to the International Space Station for NASA and is en route to deliver about 6,700 pounds of research and supplies to the Expedition 73 crew.
Station Houston on 2 for Vapor. I just want to let you know we're still talking about the WHC doses. We'll get back with you here in a few.
Okay, copy that. And you want me to leave the fan running and the valve open for this, right?
That's affirmative. Good readback.
Okay.
Station Houston, Space to Ground 2 for Talkin' Johnny regarding the docking camera.
Johnny, talk to your send it.
Hey guys, wanted to let you know that the docking camera is currently configured to only be routed to the cupola, so we would like to vector you guys to the cupola, if that's all right.
Moving.
Thank you kindly.
Meaning that all Dragon systems checked out nominally on its path to the docking port. And with that nominal checkout, Dragon did not need to pause at Waypoint 1 and is continuing directly on to Waypoint 2.
Dragon range 200 meters and decreasing in the corridor, attitude nominal.
Houston copies.
Dragon is 200 meters away from the space station on its way to Waypoint 2, which is just 20 meters away. Waypoint 2 is the 20 meter or 65.5 feet final checkpoint in front of the Zenith docking port before making its way to docking.
Houston Station, procedure review of steps 5 and 6 complete. Crew is ready for docking.
Station Houston copies. At Waypoint 2, Dragon will hold for approximately 6 minutes.
Station copy.
You just heard that call. The Dragon's going to make a pit stop for 6 minutes at Waypoint 2, and usually it's about 1 minute, but today there's going to be 2 additional operations once it arrives to that point. First is an assessment of Dragon Eye performance with the new International Docking Adapter Zenith Planar Reflector. And the second additional objective at Waypoint 2 today is a pre-planned reduction in C2V2 return link rate to increase link margin for docking.
Station Houston on Space to Ground 2 for Vapor and WHC. Vapor, we talked about it a bit, and I think we would like to request one more dose. So I'd like to have you go ahead and do this now. Make sure when you do the dose, please check the ECA hose to make sure that it is clear that pre-treat is moving through the hose. How copy?
Okay, copy that. So you want me to run block November, do 1 manual dose, and then as that dose is moving, make sure that I can see the liquid moving.
Good words from us. That's the plan.
Dragon just closed in on less than 130 meters away from the space station as the spacecraft and the International Space Station are tracking down the west coast of Africa.
And Houston Station, right in block November, the pre-treat bad qual light did not come back on, so it looks like a nominal startup. Do you still want me to just do 1 dose to make sure?
Dragon is continuing on its docking corridor route as it approaches Waypoint 2, currently just about 100 meters away from the space station.
The good news there, Vapor. So that makes WHC go for use. Hold the dose that we asked you for. However, our ask going forward is if you see any more off-nominal lights, please immediately hold and let us know, because we'll want to troubleshoot that.
Okay, copy that. I'll pass that on to everybody.
Copy that. Thank you.
Dragon is currently making its way to Waypoint 2, where we'll take a 6-minute pit stop for final evaluation of its systems to ensure alignment before resuming approach and closing in for contact and capture. Now, typically that pit stop is 1 minute, but today there will be 2 additional test objectives once Dragon arrives to Waypoint 2. During that 6-minute pit stop, they will first assess the Dragon Eye performance with the new International Docking Adapter Zenith Planar Reflector. This new reflector was just installed by NASA astronauts Sunny Williams and Nick Hague just a few months ago during a spacewalk this January. The second additional objective at Waypoint 2 today is a pre-planned reduction in C2V2 return link rate to increase link margin for docking. If you're just joining us, we're providing live coverage of the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft's arrival to the International Space Station. Dragon is currently 50 meters away from the International Space Station on its way to Waypoint 2, the final pit stop before docking. Teams just reported that Dragon's systems have checked out nominally on its way to Waypoint 2, just 20 meters away from the space station. Dragon has made it to its final pit stop, just 20 meters in front of station, and will pause here for approximately 6 minutes before resuming its approach.
Houston Station, Dragon holding 19.8 meters in the corridor. Alignment nominal.
Copy that, Johnny. We're showing a good hold.
That was the voice of NASA astronaut Johnny Kim, who's currently monitoring today's docking operations.
Station Houston on 2. Expect C2V2 step down shortly. Stand down from monitoring Dragon docking cameras in 1.102 at this time.
Station copy.
Station Houston on Space to Ground 2 for any available crew. Request cease exercise activities at this time.
The view you see on your screen is what NASA astronaut Johnny Kim and JAXA astronaut Takuya Onishi are seeing through the cupola. And we just heard Johnny Kim confirm nominal alignment. Dragon is currently at its final pit stop, about 20 meters away from the International Space Station. Typically, this is a 1-minute stop just to assure alignment, but today there are a few additional test objectives the team's handling now.
Station copy. So we'll make sure no one's exercising.
Copy. Thank you.
Focus on aligning its docking system with the docking adapter. Dragon will then fly in and make contact with the docking adapter, giving us what we call soft capture. The soft capture ring then retracts until sensors indicate it's time for hooks to drive in place to give us a hard capture and firmly secure Dragon to station. Just before docking, when Dragon reaches 2 meters or about 6.5 feet away, you will hear the call CHOP. CHOP stands for crew hands off point, telling the crew not to send any commands, and at that point, Dragon is committed to docking. The team is working that second additional objective today at Waypoint 2. It's a pre-planned reduction in C2V2 return link rate to increase link margin for docking.
Station Houston on 2.
Station copy.
Teams are go for final approach and docking. If you're just joining us, the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft is at its final pit stop and about to start making its final approach to the International Space Station.
Station Houston on Space to Ground 2. Dragon is on final approach and is go for docking. Monitor per steps 5 and 6 in 1.102. Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Station copy, in work.
Dragon has resumed its approach to the International Space Station, closing in on 15 meters. Dragon is delivering more than 3 tons of cargo to the International Space Station crew of 7. Dragon is moving at 8 centimeters per second, closing in on 13 meters away. Dragon is 10 meters away, or 32 feet from the International Space Station. This is SpaceX's 32nd cargo resupply mission to the space station and is en route to deliver 6,700 pounds of research and supplies to the crew on board. Station is closed in on 5 meters or 16 feet away. Station is 3 meters
2
or about...
meters, crew hands-off point.
Houston, copy is hands off.
Station is less than 6.5 feet away. You heard that crew hands off point. At this time, Dragon is committed to docking.
Station Houston on space to ground 2, Dragon contact and soft capture complete.
Station copies and concurs that capture is complete. Dragon has arrived to the International Space Station at 7:40 a.m. Central, 8:40 a.m. Eastern, while flying 260 miles over the southern Indian Ocean. Now we're waiting for the relative motion between the two vehicles to dampen out before the initiation of 12 hooks, forming a hard mate between itself and the International Space Station. Ring retraction is in progress.
Station Houston on 2, ring retraction in progress.
The capture ring on Dragon is now interacting with the international docking adapter, drawing Dragon closer in for those hooks to engage and do a hard mate with the space station.
Station Houston on 2, ring retraction in progress.
If you're just joining us, more than 3 tons of science investigation supplies and equipment just arrived to the International Space Station at 7:40 a.m. Central, 8:40 a.m. Eastern, while the space station was flying off the coast of the southern, was flying 260 miles over the southern Indian Ocean. And what to expect next. Dragon's 12 hooks, 2 sets of 6 hooks will engage for a hard capture. The docking mechanism ensures the interface is flush and allows for the first set of 6 hooks, followed by the second set of 6, which takes approximately 13 minutes. After that, a couple of umbilicals will also be extended to get power and data from station to Dragon. With this extension of power, that'll move Dragon into what's known as acquiescent mode, essentially becoming an integrated piece of station once it's docked. The ring alignment is complete, ready to go to hook close.
Station Houston on 2, ring retraction is complete. Docking sequence is holding for MCS reconfiguration.
Copy.
Next, Dragon's 12 hooks, 2 set of 6 hooks, will engage for a hard capture.
Station Houston on 2, MCS configured, proceeding with hook driving.
Station copy.
Flight controllers on the ground and the crew on station confirm that those hooks are beginning to drive and the Dragon spacecraft is latching itself securely into the space station. The first set of 6 hooks are traveling. Once Dragon is mated to the space station, there will be a vacuum-tight seal. It'll then be pressurized to match the same pressure as station, pausing periodically for leak checks. And once pressurized, the crew will be able to open the hatch on the station side and Dragon side and begin operations to unload the cargo. The first set of 6 hooks are closed and the second set of 6 are currently driving. If you're just now joining us, Dragon has arrived to the International Space Station at 7:40 a.m. Central this morning while flying 260 miles over the southern Indian Ocean. Dragon is delivering about 6,700 pounds of research and supplies to the Expedition 73 crew of 7 currently on board. The first set of 6 hooks are closed, and we're waiting on the second set of 6, which are currently driving. Once those 12 hooks have latched, hard capture will be complete, but then a couple of umbilicals will also be extended to get power and data from station to Dragon. After some pressurization and leak checks, later on the crew will open the hatch and start unloading the cargo into the International Space Station.
Station Houston on 2, hard capture complete.
Roger, hard capture complete. Huge thank you and congratulations to our International Space Program, Commercial Program, and SpaceX for a successful mission. With the success of CRS-32, we look forward to all the science experiments we'll be conducting the following weeks to bring back to Earth.
That sounds great, Johnny. Good words. Additionally, we can pass you that the exercise constraint is now lifted.
Roger, thanks.
Station Houston on 2 for Johnny. With that complete, you have our go to step into 3.100 ISS Cargo Dragon vestibule pressurization and ingress.
And work.
Good words from Johnny Kim, and we have a successful tight seal with Dragon in the space station thanks to 12 hooks that have successfully latched into the international docking adapter. This creates a vestibule that the crew will soon pressurize, conduct leak checks, and be able to open the hatch and start removing the cargo later today. With that, docking is complete. We heard confirmation from Mission Control team members in Houston, and the cargo spacecraft is scheduled to remain docked for about a month and will return to Earth off the coast of California. JAXA astronaut Takuya Onishi was on board monitoring arrival, and NASA astronaut Johnny Kim, who you just heard, is assisting in the pressurizing of the vestibule and spacecraft. Following its launch yesterday, NASA's SpaceX 32nd commercial resupply mission carrying more than 3 tons of science, supplies, and equipment has arrived to the Expedition 73 crew of 7 aboard the International Space Station. The SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft docked to the zenith port of station's Harmony module at 7:40 a.m. Central, 8:40 a.m. Eastern this morning. This will conclude our coverage this morning. But next up for station is the U.S. Spacewalk 93 on May 1st. You can tune in to our preview briefing this Thursday, April 24th at 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern to learn more about what the 6.5-hour spacewalk with US EVA 93 will entail. Thank you for joining us this morning as we follow the rendezvous and docking of the Dragon cargo spacecraft for SpaceX's 32nd commercial resupply mission to the International Space Station. This is Mission Control Houston. If you're just joining us, we're providing live coverage of the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft's arrival to the International Space Station. We are currently in an expected loss of signal for our video views as the space station passes around the Earth. Feeds are transferred between satellites through our tracking and data relay satellite system. We're expected to regain these video views before docking. The Dragon spacecraft will dock autonomously to the zenith port of station's Harmony module, delivering approximately 3 tons of cargo to the crew of Expedition 73. All Dragon systems have checked out nominally so far on its path to the docking port. Dragon has reached its first checkout at Waypoint 0 and is currently in a long looping maneuver on the edge of station's Keepout sphere, making its way to Waypoint 1, which will put Dragon on a docking access directly in front of the docking port. And while Dragon is making its way to Waypoint 1, we're expecting the go, no, go approach to Waypoint 2 call in about 4 minutes here at 7 a.m. Central. The go for approach to Waypoint 2 brings Dragon inside the Keepout sphere before contact at the zenith port of the Harmony module. So again, Dragon's reached that first checkpoint at waypoint 0, and it's currently making that long looping maneuver you see here in this graphic on the edge of the station's Keepout sphere. It's making its way to waypoint 1, which will put Dragon on the docking axis 220 meters or 721 feet directly in front of the docking port. If you're just joining us, this is SpaceX's 30-second cargo resupply mission to the International Space Station for NASA and is en route to deliver about 6,700 pounds of research and supplies to the Expedition 73 crew.
Station Houston on 2 for Vapor. I just want to let you know we're still talking about the WHC doses. We'll get back with you here in a few.
Okay, copy that. And you want me to leave the fan running and the valve open for this, right?
That's affirmative. Good readback.
Okay.
Have been hospitalized. He's likely to meet them once he reaches and then carry out more review with the army brass, the army commanders as well as the Jammu and Kashmir police till the time these terrorists responsible for the dastardly attack are brought to justice. I think Home Minister will be in Srinagar to try and find out the best way along with the commanders on ground as far as this unfolding situation is concerned. Like we have been telling our viewers, what we hear from the ground is very unfortunate. Looks like as far as death toll goes, this could be one of the worst attacks in recent memories.
Right. Worst attack in recent memories, and therefore the response of the government is also commensurate with that reality. Yes, Major General A.K. Sivach, your response on the message that has come from the Prime Minister, the fact that the Home Minister himself is leaving, he could be in Srinagar in an hour or so.
Shivani, the fact that the Prime Minister has directed the Home Minister to go to Jammu and Kashmir today itself, it shows the seriousness in which Prime Minister has taken this incident. And reasons are very obvious, as we were discussing, that the today Prime Minister himself is not here. He is in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, and the Vice President of US is here, Mr. J.D. Vance. So the message which the Pakistan has trying to send is very, very difficult, and they want to send that militancy is still there. So it has been taken very seriously by the Prime Minister, and that's why the Home Minister has been sent. And it looks like that this operation which has taken place now, wherein the terrorists have succeeded in doing what they have done, is a very serious operation, and India is going to take it very, very seriously and going to respond, and possibly respond in a manner as if we have done what we have done earlier in terms after Uri and after Pulwama, because you have to make Pakistan bleed. You have to make them pay, because this is a crucial time. And remember, it will have adverse impact on your tourism. The tourism was record time, more than 2 crore last year, and this time it was likely to be almost 3 crore. But a time they have selected, the place they have selected is also a question mark, because this is the place, Pahalgam, where the Amarnath Yatra take place. This 6 days to take the place in 6 days, and 2 days it takes from the northern Kashmir, which is Baltan, and this will impact the tourists coming in Amarnath Yatra. This will also impact also the tourists which are there in Pahalgam now. This time their tourists are so much that even they are saying that 10% of tourists are also foreigners. So there was complete peace and tranquility in Jammu and Kashmir. People were not going now in foreign country. They were going to Jammu and Kashmir, which was far beautiful than the European countries, including Switzerland. Now this is a setback, and this setback only you can bring it back by making sure that the Pakistani pay back. They need to pay back, because this operation, this dastardly act which have been done by the terrorists, we must make Pakistan ISI to pay back, because this has been done on the behest of Pakistan Army and ISI. There are a handful of terrorists which are there in Kashmir Valley. To me, it looks like that these terrorists possibly have come from Kishtwar and Doda area after crossing a Pir Panjal. But certainly it is a setback, and we have to pay back Pakistan in the same coin. We must do something wherein it hurts Pakistan. Pakistan itself is in turmoil, but it will not leave India bleeding with 1,000 cuts. That policy will continue until unless we make him pay.
Yeah, the cost has to be increased, and India has successfully managed to do so. Put the fear of retaliation and an inordinate reaction from India in the hearts of Pakistan. But you know, this is a kind of strategy that Pakistan has been using for a very long time, where they deny any involvement as far as their state or their country is concerned, and you know, backed in areas of grey. As far as the terror perpetrated in Kashmir is concerned. I want to quickly play out a few of the responses we have from eyewitnesses and otherwise locals. You know, there are responses coming in from the ground where those attacked, the families of those attacked, the tourists themselves had talked about how this is a targeted killing. After General Munir's speech the other day, and I will play an excerpt of that in just a bit, Hindus, it seems, have been particularly targeted, or non-Muslims have been particularly targeted in these attacks. Listen to some responses from the valley.
आपने आप बोले ना मुझे
यहाँ पर थी, क्या बोलते भेलपुरी खाने से मेरा पति साइड में था, एक इंसान आया, उसने उसको गोली मार दी। यहाँ पे उसने बोला कि ये शायद मुस्लिम नहीं है, उसने उसको गोली मार दी।
नहीं आप टेंशन मत लो, अब बेटा आप यहाँ पे रहो, हम साथ में। मैडम ये जो ब्रीद साहब है प्रेसिडेंट, आप टेंशन मत लो,
मेरे बेटे का बच्चा लो,
हम बचा देगा, कोई बात नहीं। भाई दब से मन युवा डिजाइन किया है। ठीक है, ठीक। क्या हुआ इसको, क्या हुआ?
Please ask for help. We don't need.
Okay, don't worry. You okay? You need a water, sir?
Sir, we'll manage. Just ask for help.
Okay, you first you give the hands water, yes. Drop of water. Take a drop of water, sir, please. हम आ रहे हैं, आप टेंशन, कोई बात नहीं, हम हैं, हम आ रहे हैं, आप टेंशन मत लो मैडम, हम आ रहे हैं। नहीं खुदाया, कहाँ पे है आपका बेटा, कहाँ पे है? कोई बात नहीं, हम इनके साथ हैं। ये प्रेसिडेंट है ना, वही साहब, ये यूनियन का प्रेसिडेंट है, ये साथ में, आपको कोई टेंशन नहीं। मैडम आप कोई टेंशन मतलब, हम साथ में। अरे मैडम ये प्रेसिडेंट साथ आया है, आपको किसी चीज का डरने का नहीं, हम साथ में। आपको किसी को क्या हुआ है? आपने क्या देखा है यहाँ पे?
How many terrorists were there? How many terrorists were there?
2 थे।
2 थे। कितने फायर उन्होंने फायर किए?